everyone, welcome to today's video tutorial and walkthrough of Shelby the Seahorse from LYKKE's AMITAMI kits. Before we get started with today's video, I want to go over everything included in your kit and then we'll jump right into making Shelby. So first and foremost, we have our instructions here. I will be going over these step by step with you, but if you want to follow along with me, we're going to start at the head and body and work our way down, of course. And then we do have our main color here, which is going to be our turquoise yarn, as well as a little bit of color A, our yellow, and color B, which is going to be black. We'll need these for some accent pieces for Shelby. We also have our crochet hook, which for today's video, we're going to be using a 2.5mm crochet hook and the perfect amount of stuffing to stuff Shelby's body with, as well as a stitch marker to mark the last stitch of every round, and our tapestry needle, which we'll use to weave in all of our ends. So that's everything we're going to need to create Shelby. All we'll need to start though is going to be our turquoise yarn, our crochet hook, and our stitch marker. So I'll move everything else out of the way and we'll jump right into making Shelby. Another little thing to note before we get started with the instructions, if you want to follow along, we're going to start at the head and body and work our way down. There's also all the abbreviations here in case you are interested in learning those, as well as a basic conversion chart and a little diagram for magic ring and front and back loop, but I will be showing you all this as well. So for now, all we need in front of us is our turquoise yarn, our hook, and our stitch marker here. Just going to push that aside a little bit, and we're going to start with the turquoise. So for round one, the instructions are using MC, which is our main color, make a magic ring, put 6 single crochets into the ring for a total of 6 single crochet, tug the tail to tighten the ring, and mark the last stitch, move the marker each round. So in order to make a magic ring, this is the hardest part of the whole pattern, so stick with me. Start by placing out 2 fingers like this. It's going to be your index finger and your middle finger. Place the yarn over your fingers so that the yarn tail is dropping off of your middle finger and wrapping around your index finger, and then you're going to hold it in place with your thumb. Then wrap the yarn around your fingers, coming up from under your middle finger, and create a crisscross over your index finger. Then you can slightly turn your hand and with your ring finger, grab and hold on to that yarn to hold it in place while we do our next step. Next, we're going to take our crochet hook with the hook side facing downward. We're going to go under that first strand of yarn and grab that second strand with our hook. We're going to pull it through and give it a small twist. So now the hook side is kind of towards you, and we're going to slide over and grab this yarn right here, this tail of yarn here, and then pulling that yarn through the loop that we have created, we have now made our magic ring, and we have the ability to close it like that. So let's do that one more time because I know that's kind of a lot of steps. Again, place your 2 fingers out with the yarn over your finger. Remember, the tail is coming off of your middle finger. Hold it in place with your thumb. Give it a wrap around to the front and create an X over your index finger. Holding it in place with your ring finger, hook side facing downward, under that first strand of yarn, grabbing that second strand, pulling it under the first and giving it a twist towards you. We're going to then slide it over and grab our working strand here, pulling it through that little hole that we made, that circle, and we have again created our magic ring. This is going to allow us to tighten our stitches after we create our 6 single crochet. If you're still struggling with that, another little hack you can use is just create a slip knot and go ahead and chain up 4 from the slip knot. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you're just going to slip stitch into that first stitch there, and that'll create a very small hole you can also work into. The only difference is this one is not adjustable. So either way, you can do whatever is easier for you, but for me, I am going to start off with the magic ring. So now that we have our magic ring, we can begin by putting our 6 single crochet into the middle of this circle here. So we're going to be working this way across, and we want to make sure we're working over both of these strands here. So placing our first single crochet, we're going to go under the circle, grab the yarn, pull it up, yarn over, and pull through both of those loops, 1 single crochet. Again, into the circle, grabbing the yarn, pulling it up, yarn over, pull through, 2 single crochet. Again, under the circle, grab the yarn, yarn over, pull through, that's 3. So we want 6 total. So we have 4 here, 5, and lastly we have 6. Now our last instruction for round 1 is to tug the tail tight and place the stitch marker in the last stitch, and we will be moving the stitch marker every single round. So with the yarn tail here, go ahead and pull that nice and snug, and that will secure our little magic ring, and there you go, just like magic. So in that last stitch, as stated, we're going to be placing our stitch marker. So I'll just push it in there. And this will be marking the end of each round. This is really helpful once we work a couple rounds and it gets really challenging to see where we've begun and ended a round. So for round 2, we're going to increase in every stitch. So we're going to have 12 single crochet at the end of this round. So into that first stitch here, we're going to place 2 single crochets, and that's what an increase means. So we have 1 single crochet, and again into that same space, 2 single crochet, just like that. Into the next one, we have 1 single crochet, and again, 1 more single crochet into that stitch for 2. So now we have 4 total. So go ahead and repeat that in every stitch all the way around, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. We'll begin round 3 together. I am at the last stitch of round 2, and I just wanted to demonstrate. I did take my stitch marker out, but I'm going to place 1 more single crochet into that last stitch there, like that. And then taking our stitch marker, I'm just going to place that into the last stitch again and secure it closed, and that's what it means to move it every single round. So there we go. We are now on to round 3. So for round 3, we're going to make 1 single crochet in the next stitch and an increase in the next stitch. We're going to do this 6 times, and we'll have a total of 18 single crochet at the end of this round. So into that first stitch, we're just going to place 1 single crochet, just like that. And then into the next stitch, we're placing 2 single crochet, so an increase again. And we're just going to be doing this all the way around. So we'll do 1 more set together. We have 1 single crochet in the third stitch. Then in that fourth stitch, we're going to do an increase, so 2 single crochets. So now we've done that 2 times, so we need 4 more times total. Go ahead and complete that, and I will meet you back at the end of this round. We'll begin round 4 together. All right, so now that we've done that 6 times total, we have 18 single crochets in round 3, and we're ready for round 4. You're gonna start to see a little bit of a pattern develop here. So for round 4, we're gonna do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then an increase 6 times. So we're gonna increase the amount of stitches we have to 24. So into the first stitch, just 1 single crochet like that. Into the next stitch, 1 single crochet as well. And then into that third stitch, we're going to do our first increase of round 4. So 1, 2 single crochet into that stitch, just like that. So again, we have 1, 2, and then into that next stitch, an increase, 3, 4. And you're going to complete that for the entire round 4, and then we will begin round 5 together. Now that we have 24 single crochet, we are ready to begin round 5, and round 5 is going to be very similar again. 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then an increase for a total of 30 single crochets. So into that first stitch, 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, and into the third stitch, 1 single crochet. And then into that fourth stitch, we're going to do our first increase of this round. So that's 2 single crochet in that stitch. Go ahead and repeat that 5 more times, and we'll have a total of 30 single crochet at the end of this round. So we're going to begin round 6 now, and as you can see, our circle is really starting to take shape. So for round 6, very similar again, we're going to increase to 36 single crochet, which means we're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then an increase. So just to start that off together, let's work 1, 2, 3, 4, and our first increase right here of this round. There we go. 2 single crochet in 1 stitch. Go ahead and complete that 5 more times. I'll meet you back here and we'll begin round 7. All right, well done. So now for round 7, we're going to do something a little bit different. So let's work this together. It says single crochet in the next 11 stitches and then an increase in the next stitch. We're only going to do this 3 times to increase our number of single crochets to 39. So let's work that together. Let's work 1 single crochet in the next 11 stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and here's the 11th. So that's our last single crochet before our increase, and now we're going to increase. So that's 2 single crochet in 1 stitch, just like that. And that is the first set of increases for round 7. So we're going to do that 2 more times, and then we will meet back for round 8 together. So let's work one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11 here. And then into that next stitch again, we are going to do an increase, just like that. So go ahead and work that last set of 11 and your increase into that last stitch. I'll meet you back and we will start round 8. So the instructions for round 8 say single crochet in the next 6 stitches, increase in the next stitch, and then single crochet in the next 6 stitches. We're going to do that 3 times to bring our stitch count now to 42. So let's do that together as well. We'll work 6 single crochets before an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. Then we're going to do our increase. So remember, that's 2 single crochet in 1 stitch here. And instead of that being the end of the repeat sequence like we're used to, they want us to finish off the sequence with 6 more single crochet in these next stitches afterwards. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now that is the end of that first sequence. So just so that makes more sense, let's do it again. So now we're going to repeat that sequence for the second time of the 3 times we need to make it. And we're going to begin with 6 single crochets in the next 6 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 right here. Perfect. And then our increase is going to be right here in that next stitch, 2 single crochet as we're used to. And then to finish off this sequence, we are going to do 6 single crochets in the next 6 stitches. So we have 1 there, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. Very good. So go ahead and work that last repeat again. So 6 single crochets and increase, and then end with 6 single crochet. And I'll meet you back here to begin round 9 together. Very good job there. So now we're going to start our first set of repeats for this pattern, which we have not done yet. So for rounds 9 through 16, 8 rounds total, we're going to place 1 single crochet in every stitch around. So no increasing or anything like that, just 1 single crochet in each stitch. You can count the stitches by counting these bumps if you want to make sure you're staying on track as you work these rounds. And remember to move your stitch marker after every single round. It's also very helpful when you're working these to mark either on the instructions or just a scrap piece of paper so you don't lose track of what round you are working. So every time you get back to the marker, that's the end of a round, and I will meet you back here at round 17 after you work all of your repeat rounds of no increasing. And we are back from our 8 rounds. Took a little bit of time there. As you can see now, I just wanted to show you, you kind of have like a bowl shape going on, and that is created when you do not have any increases or decreases worked. It does just work up the walls or side of the project. So we went from that flat circle into the bowl. So if yours is looking like this, you're doing a great job. And we still have 42 single crochets all the way around. So let's begin round 17 together. So for round 17, we're going to do something we have not done yet, which is going to be a decrease. So our instructions for round 17 are make 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches and then do a decrease. We're going to do this 6 times to get our stitch count back down to 36. So we'll start off the round the same as every other, and let's begin by creating our 5 single crochet over those next 5 stitches. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then into the next stitch is number 5 there. Perfect. Now for a decrease, we're going to work that over the next 2 stitches here. So we're basically making 2 stitches into 1 stitch, a decrease. So we're going to insert into that first stitch through the stitch like that as normal, yarn over and pull the yarn through. Now this is typically where we yarn over and pull through to complete our stitch, but we are not going to do that because we need to enter our next stitch. So same way we did the first stitch, we're just going to enter our second stitch and pull the yarn through. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through to complete our decrease. We have now successfully made the 2 stitches into 1 stitch. So let's work that one more time together in case that was a little bit challenging. So we have our 5 single crochet we need to work first. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 right there. Perfect. And let's do our next decrease. So these 2 stitches will become 1 stitch by entering into the first stitch, pulling up your loop, 2 stitches on the hook, into the next stitch, pulling up another loop, 3 stitches on the hook, yarning over and pulling through just like that. Quite easy. There we have another decrease. So we needed to do that 6 times in total. So we have 4 more times we need to complete that. And I will meet you at the end of round 17. We'll begin round 18 together. All right, so for round 18, we are going to decrease our circle to be even smaller. So now we're going to get down to 24 stitches. So in order to do that, we need to make 1 single crochet in the next stitch and then a single crochet decrease. We're going to do this 12 times. So our circle is going to get significantly smaller after this round. So we have 1 single crochet into the first stitch, then over the next 2 stitches, we make our decrease. And there is number 2. So again, we'll have stitch 1, and then into the next 2 stitches, we will create a single crochet decrease. So now we have 4 single crochet total, and let's do another one. 1 single crochet over the next 2 stitches. We're going to turn that into 1 single crochet. There we go. Continue working that all the way around. I will meet you back at the end of this round. We'll begin the next round together. So now we are down to 24 single crochet, and we are actually going to work this a little bit smaller even yet. So just so you understand what we're doing, we are working the head, body, and tail all in one. So we have already worked the head. We're kind of creating a neck here, and then we're going to work out into a body, and then of course the tail, all in one piece. So if that helps you make a little more sense of what we're doing, we're kind of creating a little bit of a neck, I would say, for Shelby the Seahorse. So in the next set of instructions for round 19, we need a single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then work a decrease so we can get our body down to 18 single crochets. So let's do the beginnings of that together. We have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then a decrease, of course. So into the next 2 stitches, we'll work that decrease, and there we go. And you're going to complete that a total of 5 more times for 6 times total to get down to 18 single crochet. I will meet you back at the beginning of the next round. Okay, so now we've worked the entire head of our seahorse. If you're reading along in the instructions with me, you will see after round 19 that we just worked, it says at the end of round 19, do not fasten off, continue on to the body. So we're going to start working the body now, which is round 20, and we're also going to be doing something different here. So for round 20, it says working in the front loop only, single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then an increase 6 times because we're going to work our stitches back up to 24. So there is a diagram on your instructions if you want to check that out, but I am going to show you what the front loop is as well. So in a stitch, you have both a back loop here, a front loop, and then the entire loop. So typically we're used to working through both the front and back loop. That's what we've been doing this entire time. And the back loop is just, as stated, the back loop of the stitch. The front loop is that front bar of the V stitch here. So just that little part right there. So that's what we're going to be working into for this entire round. And then after this round, we will be going back to working through both the front and back loop of the stitch. Just a little note. So this will just be for this round only, but let's begin. So for round 20, again, 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches and then an increase to go back to 24. So through only the front loop of that next stitch, we are going to work 1 single crochet. Every other part is the same. It's just the part of the stitch we're working through. Into the next stitch, 1 single crochet, and then into the following stitch, we're going to work an increase. So that's just 2 single crochet in the front bar of that V-stitch there. Perfect. And let's repeat that one more time together. So we have 1 single crochet, 2 single crochet, and then our increase into that next stitch there. Go ahead and complete that all the way around. You have 4 more times of doing that to get our stitch count back up to 24, and I will meet you back at the beginning of the round to begin the next one. Okay, so now with our stitch count back at 24, we're gonna do round 21. So we're gonna, remember, be working now back through the front and back of the stitch again, no more front loop only. We are going to make 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then an increase to get our stitch count back up to 30. So this is very similar to what we did for the head. So we have 1 single crochet, 2, and then 3, of course, and into that next stitch, we will work our increase. And you're going to do that 5 more times for a total of 6 times to get to 30 single crochet. I'll meet you back here at the end of this round. All right, we're now going to start round 22, and for round 22, we're just making 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around, so no increasing or decreasing this round. You will still have 30 single crochet at the end of round 22, so go ahead and work that, and I'll meet you back for round 23 together. So now that we worked round 22, we're going to start round 23, and for round 23, we're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches, and then an increase, only 3 times to increase our stitch count to 33. So let's do the first set together. We're going to work 9 single crochet first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then work your first increase of this round into that next stitch, which is 2 single crochet in that stitch. Go ahead and complete that 2 more times. I'll meet you back at the stitch marker. We'll begin round 24 together. For round 24, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches and then an increase into the next stitch and then a single crochet into the next 5 stitches. We're going to do that 3 times. So similar to how we did earlier, but let's do that together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. Then we're going to work our first increase of this round. So that's 2 single crochet into that 6th stitch there. Perfect. And then after that, we need to finish the sequence with 5 more single crochet. So we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. So that's the end of the first of 3 sequences. So we'll do that 2 more times, but let's do one more together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase into that 6th stitch. Perfect. And then, of course, 5 more single crochet into the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And we have 1 more set to work. So go ahead and work that last set and I will meet you back. We'll begin round 25 together. All right, very nicely done. So before we move forward, we're actually going to stuff the head of our seahorse because as we move further along in the pattern, it's going to get a lot more difficult to do so. So I have some of my stuffing here. This is definitely too much for right now, but I just pulled it out of the bag and I'm just going to fluff it a little bit in between my fingers like this before stuffing it into the head of the seahorse. Now you can stuff this however much you want. I like to keep mine pretty firm, so I'm just going to begin stuffing it like this. Keep your stitch marker in, but you can remove your crochet hook while you do this if it makes it a little bit easier for you. So we'll just continue doing that until we feel like the head is stuffed enough. You don't want to do too much so it's not coming out like this because you will have a difficult time crocheting around the stuffing. So just enough. We will just continue adding more as we go. So I think that looks pretty good and I'm going to continue on. So see how much we have left over here we'll begin stuffing that more as we begin working the body more. So I'm attaching my hook back on to where we are working, and for rounds 25 through 30, so 6 rounds total, we're going to make 1 single crochet in each of the 36 stitches all the way around. Go ahead and work those repeat rounds, no increasing, no decreasing. And again, I would highly recommend marking this on a scrap piece of paper or on the instructions just to keep track of where you are. Move your stitch marker after every round. I'll see you back here after we work our 6 rounds of 36 single crochet. All right, so we've now worked round 25 through 30, so let's begin round 31. Again, this is going to start looking very familiar to things we've done in previous rounds. So for round 31, it says make 1 single crochet in the next 5 stitches, make a decrease, and then make a single crochet in the next 5 stitches 3 times for 33 single crochet total. So let's work the first set of that sequence together as a reminder. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Perfect. And then we'll work our first decrease over these next 2 stitches, just like that. Awesome. And then we need to work 5 more single crochet to complete that first sequence. So they wanted to do that 3 times. So that's 1, and you'll do 2 more by yourself. I'll meet you back at the stitch marker and we'll begin the next round together. So for round 32, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches and then a decrease. We're going to do that 3 times for a total of 30 single crochet. And just a refresh, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, and then over the next 2 stitches, our first decrease of this round. There we go. Go ahead and do that 2 more times, and we'll get down to a total of 30 single crochet, and we will begin round 33 together. Okay, now for round 33, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 9 stitches, then a single crochet decrease 6 times in a row, and then finish off with a single crochet in the last 9 stitches to get to 24 single crochet. So let's work that together. We first need to start by working 9 regular single crochet. So let's do that. I've got 2 here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, and now we're going to do our single crochet decrease, and we're going to do these back to back like I said. So we have 6 in a row to do. So remember, into the first stitch, going over into the second stitch, pulling up 3 loops on the hook, and decrease. We've got 1, and we'll do that again just in that stitch right after. So there's 2 again in that next stitch, always pulling up those 3 loops on our hook. All right, there's number 3. Here's decrease number 4, decrease number 5, and last one here, decrease number 6. All right, awesome job there. Now just finish off by working your 1 single crochet in the remaining 9 stitches. I will meet you back and we'll begin round 34 together. Okay, and that's the end of round 33. Let's begin round 34 together. Instructions for round 34 are make 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, then a decrease. We'll do that 6 times to get a new stitch count of just 18. So into our first stitch, of course, 1 single crochet, into the next stitch, 1 single crochet, into those next 2 stitches, we'll make our decrease, and that's our sequence for round 34. Go ahead and complete that 5 more times. We'll have 18 single crochets at the end of this round, and we'll begin round 35 together. All right, so I've just completed round 34. I'm gonna pull my crochet hook up so I can stuff my seahorse without losing my stitch right here. And just with more stuffing again, I'm gonna pull it apart and stuff the body until I'm happy with that. And then we will work round 35, which is beginning of the tail. Pretty happy with that amount of stuffing I have now, still not spilling out of the top, which is exactly what you want. pull my loop back close so we can begin the next round. And round 35 is 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So keeping that stitch count at 18, go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each of these stitches of the round. I'll meet you back here for round 36. Now round 36 says single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches and then a single crochet decrease, single crochet in the next 2 stitches 3 times. We're going to go down to 15 single crochet now. So we'll do that together. We have 1, got my stitch marker in there, and number 2 right here. Perfect. And then a decrease over the next 2 stitches. Perfect. And then we'll do another 2 single crochet afterward. And that's the first sequence through. So go ahead and complete that 2 more times and I'll meet you back here for round 37. For the next round, it says make 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. So go ahead and complete that. Remember, no increasing or decreasing, just 15, and I'll meet you back here for round 38. For round 38, it reads 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches and then a decrease. We're going to do this 3 times for 12 single crochet total. So again, we have 1, 2, 3, and a decrease right afterwards, which is 1 single crochet over the next 2 stitches. There we go. Do that 2 more times. I will meet you back here for round 39. Okay, for round 39, no increasing or decreasing on this round. We're just making 1 single crochet in each of the next 12 stitches. And go ahead and do that. I'll meet you back here for round 40. All right, we're about to start round 40, which means we only have 7 rounds left. And as you can see, our hole for the tail has gotten a lot smaller. So let's stuff this really quickly before we carry on. I have my stuffing here, and actually what I'm gonna do is just lay it over and use my end of my crochet hook to kind of stuff it in. Since that hole is so small, if you wanna poke your finger through, you are more than welcome to, but I find it a lot easier when it's this tiny to just use the back of my hook. So go ahead and stuff your tail again so that you're not having stuffing pop out everywhere, but it's nicely stuffed, and then we'll start round 40 together. All right, so let's finish up this tail. So for round 40, it says single crochet in the next stitch, single crochet decrease, and then single crochet in the next stitch 3 times. So we are going to have 9 stitches left. So we'll have 1 single crochet and then a single crochet decrease and then 1 single crochet. We're doing this 3 times, so go ahead and complete that and I'll meet you back here. Once we have that round completed, we'll begin round 41. Round 41 is 1 single crochet in each of the next 9 stitches, so no increasing or decreasing. Go ahead and complete that. Meet you back here for round 42. Now round 42, we're going to do a single crochet in the next 3 stitches, then a decrease, then a single crochet over the next 4 stitches. So let's do that together. We have 1 single crochet, 2, 3. It's kind of tricky when the hole gets this small, but just do your best. And then after the 3rd one, we're going to make a decrease. So let's make 1 single crochet decrease because we're going down to 8 single crochet. Perfect. Then a single crochet over the next 4 stitches. Okay, so we've done that. We now have 8 stitches total. And for round 43, go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each of the stitches all the way around, still working with 8 single crochet. Now we're on to round 44. So it says 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches, then a decrease, and then 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. Again, we're going down to 7 single crochets now. So it's going to get even a little bit trickier here, but keep going. We're almost there. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then our decrease, and then just 3 more single crochet. I will meet you back here for round 45. And after that, for round 45, work 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around. I'll meet you back for round 46. All right, here we are at the tail end of this project, quite literally. For round 46, we're going to work 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches, a decrease, and then in the next 3 stitches, 1 single crochet. We're going to decrease 1 more time down to 6. So let's do that. We have 1 single crochet in the first stitch. In the next stitch, we have 1 more single crochet. And then over these next 2 stitches, let's make our decrease. Perfect. And then we will work 1 single crochet in the remaining 3 stitches here. For the last round, round 47, we just need to make one single crochet in every stitch all the way around, no increasing or decreasing. Go ahead and complete that, and then we will finish off. When you're at your last stitch, you can also remove your stitch marker. Now we won't be needing that in place any longer. So there we go, our last single crochet. And then to finish this off, you actually just need to chain up one, just like that, and that will make sure that your project doesn't start unraveling, which of course we do not want. I'm also going to take my scissors, leave yourself a nice tail for sewing later. Go ahead, snip that, and then take your crochet hook and just pull it straight up. That loop will come off of your hook, just like that. Perfect. You can tighten it down a little bit just for some extra reassurance, and then we will close this up. So in order to do that, we will need our little tapestry needle. We're just going to thread this yarn onto our needle like that, and we're going to weave in between these last 6 stitches. I know there's not much room here to work off of, but you'll go into the first stitch here and out the second stitch like that. And then let's go ahead and pull our yarn through, and again into the third stitch and come out the fourth stitch. Perfect. Into the fifth, coming out of the sixth. Wonderful. Just like that. And then just for some extra reassurance, I like to just push that tail one more time through that yarn tail. So there we go. We'll leave that for now. And the body of Shelby the Seahorse is complete. So we can put this aside. We're going to start working the other parts of her body. So the head, body, and tail are the largest parts, and we're going to start the snout now. So everything else is going to go pretty quickly. For the snout, we're going to get our turquoise again, our main color, and do a magic ring one more time. Or you can do the chain 4 method I showed you in the very beginning if that was easier for you to use. So once you have your magic ring, we're going to put 6 single crochets into that ring, and then we'll pull it closed like we did with the head. So remember to go into that loop and make sure you're crocheting over both of the threads here. And we have 3 now, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Gonna just pull that closed, and I'm going to take my stitch marker again and put it back into the last stitch of the round so that we can move it every single round with us. So it says for round 2, we're going to increase in every stitch, again, just like we did with the head. So we're going to go from these 6 stitches all the way up to 12. Go ahead and make 1 increase in every stitch all the way around for 12 single crochet, and I'll meet you back here for round 3. Awesome. So now for round 3, we're going to work in the back loop only for this round and this round only. So it says single crochet 1 into each stitch all the way around. So no increasing or decreasing, but if you remember from before, we worked in that front bar of the V for the stitch. Now we're actually going to be working in that back bar of the V. So that is the back loop. Again, there is a little diagram on the instructions if you want to take a closer look, but you're just going to work 1 single crochet in just that back bar of the stitch all the way around, still keeping our stitch count at 12. Go ahead and do that, and then we'll meet back for round 4. Ready for round 4? Round 4 is 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. Now go through both the front and back bar of the V because we're back to working through the entire stitch. So go ahead and do that all the way around, still keeping our stitch count at 12. I will meet you back here for the next round. So now for round 5, we're going to make 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches and then a decrease 2 times because we're going to take our stitch count down to 10. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a decrease. We're pretty used to this by now. Go ahead and do that one more time, and then we are going to work the last round of the snout already. So for round 6 and the final round of the snout, go ahead and just make 1 single crochet in every stitch all the way around. I will meet you back to fasten off. So just a reminder, that's going to be 10 single crochet all the way around. I've just worked my final single crochet. I can remove my stitch marker there. And again, we're just going to chain up 1 and cut our self a little tail. We will be sewing this onto the face later, so make sure you leave yourself a pretty decent tail there, and then take your crochet hook, pull it up, and get all that yarn through that hole there. So now we have our little snout, which we can also set aside for later. And we're going to move on to color A, which is going to be yellow, also referred to in the pattern as color A. So we are going to start by making our coronet for the seahorse. So in order to start this, row 1 just says using color A, again, that's yellow, go ahead and chain up 26. So go ahead and make your chain of 26 and I'll meet you back here for the next set of instructions. All right, I have my chain of 26 here, and as a matter of fact, I'm going to remove my stitch marker because we won't be using it for this part of the pattern. It now says we're going to skip 2 chains and make 2 half double crochets in the next chain 24 times. So we're going to have 48 total half double crochet. Now, if you've never done a half double crochet, let me show you how to do that. So let's skip our first 2 chains here. We have 1, 2, and so into that third chain, let's work our first half double crochet. To make a half double crochet, you're going to first place the yarn over the hook like this, and then we're going to insert our hook into the first stitch here. We're going to yarn over the same as we would a single crochet, pull up a loop. We now have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through. And since this is technically an increase, since we're working 2 in every stitch, we're going to do the same thing again. So yarning over first, going into that stitch, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pull through all 3 loops. There's your half double crochet. So we're going to do that in every single stitch all the way down, like it said, 24 times. And that's going to give us 48 half double crochets. You're also going to notice this cornet become very ruffly. That's exactly what we want. So it might get a little bit tricky to work as it starts to turn and twist on you, but keep going and I'll meet you back here at the end of this chain when we have 48 half double crochets. All right, so you can really see what I mean now that I've finished the coronet. It is very spirally and ruffly. So we're gonna finish this off by just chaining 1 as we have been. And we wanna leave ourselves a nice tail for sewing this as well, because we'll be sewing this to the top of the head of the seahorse. And remember to pull your hook all the way up and through just to secure that. And then we can place this aside. That's all we had to do for this part of the project. So now we're going to create the fins. We're going to make 2 of these. I'll make the first one with you, of course, and then we'll make the separate one off camera. But for row 1, it says using color A, again, our yellow, chain up 3. So let's do that. We'll do this in small sections. So let's chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Skip the next 2 chains and make 3 double crochet, chain 2, slip stitch in the next chain. So to do that, we're going to make a double crochet first, which we also have not made before. So just like in the half double crochet, we're going to yarn over and then we are going to insert into that first chain we made and we are going to pull up a loop. Now we have 3 on the hook. So for a double crochet, we're going to yarn over and pull through only 2 of those loops. So we're leaving 1 and we pulled 1 through. So we have 2 left, just like that. Yarn over again and pull through those second set of loops, just like that. Now we have to do a couple of these, so we'll do a few more together. Go ahead and yarn over into that same space that we've just worked. We're going to pull up a loop, 3 on the hook, yarn over, pull through just 2 of those. Perfect. Yarn over, pull through the last 2. Awesome. And one more time. Into that same space, we are going to pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There you go. That's a double crochet. So we've completed 3 of those. And now we need to chain up 2. So we'll do 1, 2, and slip stitch into that same space we've been working our double crochets. And to slip stitch, we're just going to grab the loop, pull it through. So we have 2 on the hook and pull it through again, down to 1 on the hook, just like that. So now we've created our little itty bitty fin here, and we can go ahead and chain 1 because that's actually the end of that little fin. So that's all you needed to do. Leave yourself a tail for sewing again. And to finish it off, of course, we're pulling the hook up and through. securing that in place. So there's your little fin. Go ahead and make one more of these, and then we'll meet back and start assembling our seahorse, which is really exciting. All right, so let's start assembling our seahorse. I have my little pieces all set out for us, and we actually don't need our crochet hook anymore, so we can move that to the side. We do, however, need our tapestry needle, so make sure you go ahead and pull that forward. And we're gonna start by curling up the last round of the tail to give the seahorse a little curl on its tail here at the end. So I'm just gonna go ahead and thread my yarn here through my tapestry needle, and the directions say curl the last round of the tail to shape it using the yarn tail, sew it into place. So looking at it from the front here, I'm just gonna take it and maybe about halfway up the tail, I'm just gonna poke my tapestry needle through and pull it up like that, and it'll curl just like that. Look how cute that is. And then since it is gonna need some extra security, I'm gonna just poke it back through to the front here one more time and just push it through one last time. Now this time when I push it through though, I'm actually gonna angle my tapestry needle to come out a different part of the body. So it'll kind of poke out wherever you want once you angle it up, but see how mine's coming out up here? It's actually exactly what I want, because that's gonna help secure our tail into place and not have it pop out of our project at any point. So now I can just take my scissors, cut that little tail extra, and that is now all done. And we have our little tail all curled up, which looks so cute. So that was step one of assembly, nice and easy. So for step two, we're gonna put the eyes on. So we need our black yarn now, which is right here, and that's referred to as color B in the pattern. By the way, if you want to look at the assembly instructions, they are also on your instruction kit if you would like to reference those as well. I've threaded my black yarn for the eyes, and it says, using color B, embroider the eyes between rounds 12 of the head, leaving 8 stitches between them. Make 3 stitches in the same place for each eye. So to find where row 12 even is, unless you want to eyeball it, of course, you totally can, go up to the top here, and this top swirl is actually round 1. So we can just count down from there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is round 12. And then we do want to kind of line it up with our little curly Q of the tail here. So this would be what feels kind of like the middle here. And since we want to make it 8 stitches apart, we're just going to count back 4 stitches from here, so we can do 4 on either side to have 8 stitches in between total. So here's 1 single crochet, this little like knot looking thing right here, 2, 3, and then number 4 is right here. So I'm gonna poke my tapestry needle through the bottom and just come out the top of that stitch here. Just like that, so just 1 stitch high, and pull this yarn through quite a bit there. So you have a very small tail left over here. And we're just gonna repeat that same process about 3 times as the pattern said. You can do more if you want your eyes to look a little bit bigger, and you can do less if you don't want them quite as big. This is totally up to you, but I will do it a couple times for you. So there's 1, that's not enough quite for me. So let's do that again. Okay, there's 2, you can see the eyes coming together, and I think 3 will be just perfect here. Let's see. Yep, there we go. 3 looks great. So don't mind this right now. We'll take care of that later. So now we need to count 8 stitches over to make sure it's as symmetrical to the middle of the tail as possible. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is right here. So we'll need to come out here, but as you can see, if we do this, we'll drag the black yarn all the way across like that, which we do not want to do. So I'm sorry, we're actually coming in from the top here. I'm using my nail to kind of remind myself where to go, but we are going to go under all these stitches here. So we're gonna go in that same spot where we just came out of with our last embroidery stitch of the eye, and we'll just push through like that. See how our tapestry needle's coming out here. And as you can see now, it's all underneath, so we won't see that across, which is good. And then we're gonna just go down 1 stitch length, just so that the eyes are as even as possible, and come out the top again. So we're doing the same thing we just did on the other side now. And that's for 1, And let's do 2. Perfect. One more will be 3 again, just as our last eye was, which is exactly what we want. And now we have both of our eyes in place. Now all we need to do is take our tapestry needle, and through that same hole we just came out of, go ahead and poke your tapestry needle all the way through the head to the back, because we're going to cut ourselves off from this part of the project here. So now you can see we have no yarn on the front side that we don't want, and we can just snip this off. We're also going to repeat that for the other side of the eye too. So let me thread the other side of the eye on my tapestry needle. And then we're going to take this side, and through that same hole we just came out of, push it through to the back, just like we just did. It's coming out a little bit higher, but that's totally fine, no problem. And there we go. We have our 2 cute eyes, and we can cut this off as well. We no longer need that tail attached. All right, and that's all we needed the black yarn for, so we can put that aside, and we'll move on to the next part of the project. So we're going to do the snout now. It says position the snout on the front of the head between rounds 13 and 14. Make sure the snout is centered with the eyes, and using the yarn tail, sew it into place. So here we have our little snout. Now what we haven't done for the snout yet is actually stuff it, so we need to do that. So we just need the tiniest bit of stuffing. All right, careful again not to overstuff. That's the perfect amount for me. I'm going to thread this onto my tapestry needle, and we need to work between rounds 13 and 14, which we don't have to recount because we just found where round 12 was for those eyes. So we just need to go 1 below it, and we can find the middle again by using the tail or counting between the eyes. So starting right here in the middle between our set of eyes, we are going to start sewing that snout on. So I'll just position it like this, and you can even eyeball it to make sure it's even. Perfect. I'm going to hold it in place with my thumb while we're sewing it on, and we're just going to make sure every time we sew the snout on, we're going through a part of the snout and also a part of our project. And we're going to do that all the way around the circle so that we secure every single crochet of this last round of the snout. Go ahead and work that all the way around. I'll meet you back here, and we'll move on to the coronet. My snout is secured and as centered as I could make it, so I'm just going to go ahead and again push this through the entire project, the head, and have it come out the back, where I'm going to snip the tail off so that we don't have any loose threads of the project, just like that. All right, now our snout is on and secure. We will work the coronet. So our instructions for the coronet is to position it on top of the head perpendicular to the eyes and snout, using the yarn tail to sew it into place. So I am going to kind of just draw a line from the middle of the snout straight up to where I want to start this, which is probably about here, which is going to be approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. About row 5, I'd say, is where I'm going to start. And I'm just going to go ahead and weave this through the head first, pulling my yarn tail all the way through and securing it on to the body, just like that. And then I'm going to make sure I want to go through the coronet every single stitch as well as the head. And I'm going to push it through, secured on nice and tight. So I'll just be weaving this on through every single stitch to make sure it's as secure as possible. Go ahead and complete that for the entire top, making sure you're checking in between every now and then just to make sure you are centered. And I will meet you back here once our coronet is secured onto the top of the head. The nice thing too about working all these half double crochets together is it did create this really nice curve that kind of naturally just falls against the head. And like I said, as you get a couple more stitches down, it does get a little bit easier to kind of map that out. So that is what I'm following, but I just thought I would show you that because that did definitely help and make it a lot easier to attach onto the head. All right, I fully have attached my coronet, and I'm just going to, again, as we have been, push my tapestry needle into my project, have it come out wherever it might come out, just to keep those tails from getting loose, and cut that close to the body there. Remove that, and then do the same thing for this one up here. Then we'll get working on the fins. All right, so let's attach our fins onto Shelby. So for the fins, it says position the fin on either side of the body between around 25 and 26, leaving 17 stitches between them at the front, using the yarn tails to sew them into place. So when we created our head, this was the first 19 rounds of the project. So we know round 20 starts about here. So instead of having to count all the way from the top, we can just start from right at the neck here, and let's count down. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll start it about here. This you will kind of have to see what looks good to you, and just pushing my needle through about 1 stitch length, and that will secure it on. And then I'm going to push through the fin with my tapestry needle, and then push it through the body, of course, to attach it again. And that might be all the security we need for this little fin. Let's see. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I might even repeat that process just one more time to really secure it into place. I'd hate for the fin to come flying off at some point. So let's just do that one more time. And then I will, of course, push my tapestry needle through the body and cut the loose tail off. And using the other yarn tail we have from creating the fin, I'm just going to push this through and have it come out the side here where I can cut this loose tail as well. And voila, our fin is all sewn on. So now we'll just have to place the other fin on. You can do one of two things. You can count 17 single crochets over, but for me, I'm just going to go ahead and put it at the same spot on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and sew this fin down, and I'll meet you back because we'll work the belly together. All right, as you can see, Shelby's really starting to take shape, looking very cute. So let's embroider the belly together. So it says using color A, which is our yellow. I've already threaded mine. Embroider 5 horizontal lines on the front of the body. Now you can do this however you want. In the photo, they do have about 1 smaller line, 3 larger lines, and then we have 1 more small line as well. So I'm going to mimic the photo, but you can do whatever you'd like here. So working from the top, I'm going to go about 3 stitches or so in length and just pull it through. And now we need to close this first line here. I'm going to go back into where our tail is here, and we are going to go through that same spot, but now we need to come out a little bit lower so we can make our next line. So I am going to just use my left hand here, and I'm going to push it out 1 row below here. So we're going to skip that entire row, and at the bottom of that row we'll come out over here. And I also want that next line to be a little bit longer. So I am going to make sure I'm coming out on a diagonal over here. And I want to bring this line all the way across to the other side of my seahorse here. And then I'm going to go down again, 1 more row down. So these can be about as evenly spaced as possible. And now we're going to take this one across as well. So you can kind of see the pattern here. I'm going to try to line this up as evenly as possible. And then I'm going to go down again, pull that through. All right, looking good. We have 1 more long line. So we'll come over here, try to match that up again. And then we're going to go down 1 more and come in because we want that bottom line to kind of line up with our top line here. Perfect. And then our last line is going to be a little bit smaller, and we'll just go about as even as we can with that top line and push it through to the back all the way through because we're actually done working those stripes now. There we go. And we can cut this tail off here and turn it back over to the front. Go ahead, weave in this tail, and we'll meet back to work some of the specks. Now, using the remaining bit of our yellow yarn from our belly embroidery, I'm just going to rethread it. And now this is where you can kind of have some fun and put the specks wherever you want on the head and the body. If you're going to go off the photo, they do have some specks in the back of the head and then kind of 1 down here on the tummy as well, and some behind the fin. So there's actually quite a few you can do, but I'll do some right here in the front just so you can kind of see what that will look like. And for these little specks, they're going to be very similar to how we did the eyes. So we'll just put our tapestry needle through about 1 stitch length, just like we have been doing. And that'll just be our little anchor. And then remember, we do need to go ahead and go through it again. And then we'll come out a little bit up and diagonal, just slightly. These specks I'll just do about 1 time through because I don't want them super thick. So that's about good for me. And then again, about 1 stitch in length. I'll push this through again and have it come out slightly over here. There really doesn't have to be any rhyme or reason to where you put the specks. It's kind of just whatever you want and whatever you think is fun. And I will finish this speck by going in here, and I'll push it all the way through just as I have been doing to come out the back there. Well, I'll cut it and then I can keep doing specks until I'm out of yarn. Just remember to also weave in, of course, the beginning tails of your project. So I'm going to go ahead and weave this in, and then I will be back to finish this project off with you. All right, once you've placed all your specks on Shelby and you're happy with the way that they look, you are all finished. Congratulations. Great job working this seahorse with me. I hope you had so much fun working this. I had so much fun making it with you, and I do hope you'll check out LYKKE's other AMITAMI kits, and maybe I'll be seeing you in another tutorial soon. But until next time, thank you again so much, and bye!